snap is back to hold us down.
And it's good. Gulfport wins. Gulfport wins the title.
No time on the clock. The Golden Egg is coming to the coast.
Welcome to the HD Experience, your source for sports on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Here's your host, Hunter Dawkins.
Good morning. My name is Hunter Dawkins, the host of the award-winning podcast, The HD Experience. This is the 46th episode, a Mississippi Gulf Coast sports podcast sponsored by the Gazebo Gazette, Harrison County's independent newspaper. The Beau Rivage Resort and Casino, Nine Toes Company, Brewing Company in Pasquarchan, who has live music every weekend, O'Dwyer Realty agent Stephanie Mankiewicz, Joseph Kelly, attorney at law, Coast Casual in Pasquarchan, the Insurance Barn in Gulfport, Hook'em for Heroes Back Block Party on Saturday, September the 12th, right here at Nine Toes Brewery. And we're always in the U.S. Marine Inc. studio. I'm here with the wonderful producer of the show, Jeff Clark. Jeff is a well-accomplished, award-winning journalist, South Alabama beat writer, and the director of the Harrison County Senior Services. And additionally, above all, I know Jeff likes to hear this pretty well. He's my good friend.
This is the first time you and I have been on the desk together like this, man. Good morning, Hunter. And it is morning. It's early in the morning. We are here at the second day of SunBelt Media Days at the Marriott Convention Center down in New Orleans. So it's 9,000 degrees already and 200% humidity. So super excited to be here.
Jeff, I would love to thank the SunBelt Conference Commissioner Keith Gill and staff for allowing us to be on Radio Row here and interview multiple teams and media. This is a state-of-the-art hotel and stage, Jeff, and I'm thankful for them providing this opportunity. And this is a great thing for us, not only as the sports podcast, but just moving forward.
It's exciting, man. There's a lot of energy, a lot of great speakers here, a lot going on. Nick Saban's going to pop it. No, I'm just kidding. But
certainly,
we've got
wouldn't put it past him.
We've got Major Applewhite coming up from USA, the new coach from Southern Miss. A lot to get to. So let's go to our first commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Looking for effortless style on the coast? Discover Coast Casual in the Pass, your locally owned men's and boys' boutique. Coast Casual offers a mix of coastal and southern-inspired clothing, accessories, and gifts.
Nine Toes Brewing Company is a Gulf Coast destination for craft beer, great food, and interactive entertainment. Enjoy a rotating selection of small batch brews, a menu of comfort food favorites, and state-of-the-art golf simulators featuring world-famous courses.
Coach Blake Anderson with Southern Miss Golden Eagles. Coach, I don't know if you want to say this is 15 years too late, and I know that's not your concern. No. You're not concerned about anything like that. But how much, based on all the tragedies and things that you had in your life, the unnecessary things that you wanted to go your way, how fulfilling is this opportunity for you so far?
Yeah, it's pretty gratifying to be where I'm at. Very grateful for the opportunity, and yeah, I'm where I'm supposed to be right when God wanted me to be there. Like you can spend all the time you want to thinking about what should have and could have, but no, I'm right where I need to be. The time that I've been away from Hattiesburg was beneficial. A lot of it very hard, very difficult, but a lot of it extremely rewarding too. And I'm a better head coach for them now, and Lord knows we need it. I need to be my best. We got a monumental challenge ahead of us with the way the landscape of college football has changed and the dynamic of how it has affected a place like Southern Miss. So I'm grateful and excited about what we got ahead of us.
And the segue in that question, Coach, you've been dealt with a hand that not many people want to be dealt with. That being said, I know you're going to be pretty much underdog every, and that's a valuable thing
fine.
because, you're always trying to move up at least, of course, from that. But at the same level, how have you been able to formulate camaraderie, develop a relationship with the team where the kids get along at least, or,
Yeah.
lifting weights, developing some type of fellowship.
Yeah. I've been an underdog my whole life. I don't know that we've ever been the favorite at any point.
So that's one of the big
You know,
misses.
yeah,
Which says that.
Which is fine, man. I'm good. I'm good with it. I'm good with that. We need to embrace that role, that culture. We've tried to build around that. That's the kind of kids we've tried to recruit, guys that are going to be excited about that and really kind of gravitate towards that. We didn't go out and outbid anybody. We didn't go buy somebody. Like, obviously we're involved in rev share like everybody else, but we're not overpaying or literally, bargaining or anything. Like we're really not.
I can assure you, I've seen Southern Miss's numbers.
Yeah,
Y'all don't have the money.
No. So we're just, so guys that chose us for environment, culture, relationships, and really to prove people wrong, really. And that creates, I think, a great locker room. There's some talent in the room as well. And we're not talent deficient. We're inexperienced, but we got some dudes in there that can play for anybody. The challenge now is going to be getting them all moving in the same direction. But the landscape has made it an enormous undertaking. I mean, over 70 new players, no returning starters, like all that. It sounds terrible on paper, doesn't it? Even when I say it, it sounds really, really bad, but it creates some tremendous opportunity for some guys and an energy that they can all kind of wrap their teeth around. And that's kind of, you talked about the locker room and that's where that camaraderie, like this common goal and theme of like, nobody thinks much of us, but we're going to do this anyway. And I don't know, that makes you a pretty dangerous group of dudes.
One of the important things, messages for you needs to be not necessarily this season, but in the future, retention.
Yeah.
Is there any, how do you do that in this?
Retention is going to be difficult for everybody, right? You have a great player in the world that we're in now. There's going to be a lot of money out there. It's going to be hard to
remember, Coach, I asked the question in the New Orleans Bowl to Chris Jones. And that's, it's sad, but we won't talk about him from the perspective.
He did exactly what he needed to do for his family. We didn't have that kind of money to pay him. We offered him really good money to stay, but it wasn't comparable to what's out there. Retention is going to be difficult. I think the best thing you can do in terms of retention is create a culture and environment where guys really don't want to leave.
Yeah.
And then when a guy plays well enough that he kind of needs to leave, financially speaking, you got to celebrate that. You do. You got to help him make good decisions, educate the other ones, and try to retain what you can and hold on. And so we're going to still develop and bring in young guys and mold them and build them up. But you can't spend all your time worried about what you can't control, and you can't control the market. Like the market is what it is, and every player that goes out and plays really, really well creates his own market. So you just have to learn to adapt with it. And that's really what we're trying to do. So I hope that we can calm this down where we don't have to go out and get 70 new players a year from now. But we might have to go get 50. We might have to go get 40. We're absolutely going to have to go get 30 or 40 some way. So, man, get good at finding them, evaluating them, and molding them and developing. Let the rest take care of itself.
Based on your experiences you told me about, happy being back in Hattiesburg, is this whole idea of recruiting with the JUCO college level, with the high school level, these coaches, you worked with these coaches before. I know this is a different era, but at the same level, you have to think this is helpful for you.
Yeah, no, it does. Hiring Barney Farah and Reed Stringer to kind of run recruiting.
Yeah,
they're so deeply entrenched in our footprint, and people know them so well. My relationships from the past, that helps. Now, it only gets you so far because at the end of the day, the kids are kids, and there's a lot of money out there being thrown around. So in some places we just get outspent, like we just do. But in a lot of other areas, those relationships are helping us. You really, build and continue to recruit the high school and the junior college ranks in our footprint really, really well. We're going to recruit wherever we got to build a roster, but we're going to start at home.
Yeah.
And so those guys, I think they've done a phenomenal job.
Well, and Jeff and I talk about a lot of time, back in the day, back when both of us were in school, we used to see the Sabins, the Jackie Sherrill guys showing up in the sidelines on the coast. And then, it's like that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that you won't try to do that
Yeah.
or anything as such, but I'm just wondering if that whole idea or junior college games, is that lost?
No, it's still, it's really important that we tap into the great high school and JUCO ball in the air. Man, there's too many good players not to. And we end up taking, I don't know, 10 to 12 JC guys, 10 to 12 high school guys in this rebuild. Like we're still going to do that. It has changed. There are some places that can just go out and buy a roster that don't have to recruit that way anymore. I just don't know that we're ever going to be in that environment. We're going to tap in and start at home and then fan out from there. So you'll see a roster that's diverse and from all over, but there's always going to be that fabric of the South, South Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama. We're still going to build from within, and there's just too many good players not to.
Now you have quite a bit of experience in the SunBelt. Southern really just joined a few years ago in the SunBelt Conference, and minus last year, haven't really had a whole lot of success in it. What do you know about this conference that you can work with this conference that you think it matters to Southern?
Yeah. Well, number one, it's a great league, and you've got to recruit and develop at a really high level because everybody can play. It's stronger than it's ever been. We won it a couple of years when I was at Arkansas State, and it's a much stronger league now than it was at that time. We've got to continue to grow. You can't stay where we are. We've got to continue to grow. Our rev share numbers and dollars have to increase. We've got to recruit and develop at a really high level, and you got to be ready to play every week. There is no off week in our league. There used to be some. There used to be some Saturdays you're like, hey man, we don't mess this up, we're gonna be good.
Yeah.
You better be ready to play. And so I like to think that my experience within the league and having going against some of these coaches and just the strength of it and what it takes to win it is going to be helpful in some way. But winning ball games is still wrapped around some of the same things. We got to be good at those things.
Final question. I know that you obviously want to work on winning every game, and it's not a number of games per se, but based on where you're at, who you guys have, is there a number or if there's a development kids that's going to make you feel successful at the end of the year?
For me, it's just maximizing what we are capable of. And you learn that kind of as you go. Like, what can this group do? What can this kid do? What is he capable? What is his ceiling? What's his team? What is it capable of? What's its ceiling? If we maximize that, then the number really doesn't matter. It really doesn't. I just feel like we've always kind of found a way to be in the mix. We've always found a way on good years and bad years to be in the mix, find a way to scrap and claw to get it done. This season should be no different. And why not us? Why can't we be the team?
Sure.
Like I said, there's talent in the room, inexperienced, but talent. Let's grow them up. Let's develop them. Let's get them moving in the right direction. And let's go find a way to win. And that's really the approach that we're going to take.
Actually, I have one more.
You're good. You're good. You ask me as you need to.
This might be the most, even though you may not want to tell me who's quarterback.
Yeah. Don't know yet. Still haven't decided. There's 3 really good dudes in the race, and they're all playing at a really high level in our practice sessions. Landry Liddy played some for us last year, did a good job. John White's played some, and obviously has a great name in the state of Mississippi and has a phenomenal high school career. And Ethan Hampton comes in and probably has more experience than both of them put together with his time at Northern Illinois. I don't know who it's going to be, but I feel confident that all of them are capable of helping us win games in this league.
I'm not going to say you're going to make this, you're going to let everybody know, But what timeline do you think you're gonna make it soon?
It'll happen when it happens, man. I would love for that to be sooner rather than later. I think it's better for the team.
Yeah.
But not until we're absolutely certain that it's the right guy. So fall camp's gonna be really important.
Coach,
Appreciate it, man.
always good.
Yeah.
Take care of yourself.
Yeah, you
Down
too.
the coast, come see us.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Looking for insurance coverage you can count on? Call the Insurance Barn, a professional agency since 1959. The Insurance Barn writes all-in-one policies and offers coverage for homeowners, fire, flood, commercial property, auto, boats, motorcycles, plus wind and hail protection.
The Gazebo Gazette is Harrison County's only independent newspaper, publishing news from Gulfport to Bay St. Louis every Friday. Hi, this is Hunter Dawkins, owner of the Gazebo Gazette. If you're looking for local news without the hassle of sorting through story after digital story, log on to thegazebogazette.com.
And now we have wide receiver Davis Dalton. Davis, the real thing that I remember, like I told you, I remember you the best last spring. Coach Huff was in. He caught an end zone pass. He sort of pulled it in right in the middle of the end zone for one touchdown. You guys scored. But at the same level, talk to me about the difference between both coaching staffs.
I mean, there's a lot of big similarities and differences. I mean, both programs run well. I mean, I obviously love both coaches. I mean, I have a great experience with both of them, and I have a great relationship with Coach Henderson as well. I mean, I've enjoyed with.
And I know he was the OC last year anyway, so you got good familiarity with him.
Yeah, I've been with him for over a year now. I've built a great relationship with him, and he was one of the main reasons I came back this last year. I told him before he even got hired as head coach that I wanted him to be the head coach for this upcoming season. And, I feel like he just makes everybody on the team have a great attitude coming in the building every single day, and everybody wants to actually be there with him as head coach.
Now, the one question I had for him, which now I got not necessarily the same question for you, based on what his answer was. I asked him, who's QB1? And he said, Hunter, I don't know yet.
Yeah, we don't know that yet.
That's what I'm wondering. How do y'all develop? I mean, I know you're developing relationships, different scenarios with each guy that's going to be playing, but where do you feel more familiar with?
I mean, I have a great relationship with all the quarterbacks that are in the QB battle, and I really do feel confident that if we put any of them back there, we can win football games with them. I've played with some of them multiple years. 1 year, they just got here in the spring, but I really do feel confident that we can win with any quarterback back there, and they really bought into the system and what we're running this year and all.
No, that's definitely is as far as it goes. Are they different? I mean, I know not necessarily different based on the kind of offensive strategy they'll be running, but are they different as far as the way they throw the ball? Way that they're looking for, who's making the right reads?
I mean, I feel like they all kind of have a similar play style.
That's your negativity.
Yeah,
one or the other.
they're all got their own positive negatives, but I mean, I feel confident in all of them. They all have a similar play style, and I think they're all great quarterbacks back there.
How tall are you?
I'm 6'3".
6'3"? Okay, because I know that most programs would have you 6'5" or 6'4" based on shoes.
Yeah.
Being 6'3", what's your goal at the end of the year to be, you're obviously a big guy that's going to use your leverage. What's the most important thing for you responsibility? Coaching them to tell you, hey, we need you to do this. Do this. What do you think where do you think your success will be at the end of the year? How do you think you'll be successful if you do this?
I think one thing that I'm good at and I need to be good at this year is making aggressive catches and making contested catches through traffic. I feel like I do a very good job at making catches in traffic and making catches I'm really not supposed to make. I feel like that's one of my strong suits, going up and getting the ball and making it instead of 50-50 ball, 100-0 ball. And just making it my favor. And I think that's one thing that I need to do a great job at this year to be successful.
y'all have competition just in practice. I mean, offense, defense, y'all running all the time, trying to beat them by running this route, doing this, that, and the other.
I mean, offense and defense, we've been battling out the whole spring and summer. It's been very competitive every single day. You know, I think both sides of the ball are great, and I think we're going to need both sides of the ball to win this year. And I think we have very competitive battles every single time we go out there on the field, and it's not just one looks better than the other. I think we both look great out there. Yeah.
Final question. And this is what I asked Coach Anderson, and I want to hear from you, not necessarily comparing one with the other, but developing a camaraderie, because this is a whole new team. I mean, anybody can say what they want, but this is a whole new group of guys. How do you guys form a camaraderie in the locker room, a fellowship? Is it a community service activity? Is it, just being able to work out, being able to study, being able to do those things? What do you think sets this team apart from compared to last year or the previous year?
I mean, I think we've come together very well. I mean, Coach Henderson does a good job at kind of formatting everything we do to where we meet every single teammate and hang around with every teammate. Just little stuff like every time we go eat in our M club and after practice, before practice. And so every time we eat there, you have to check in and play, and he tries to tell us to eat with different people every single time. Or there'll be little stuff like whenever we lift, we'll have a different lift group every single week. So you're lifting at a rack with a different partner pretty much every single time you lift. So you have to build a connection with every single person you run into. And then obviously it's helped to only having one portal. We don't have the spring portal anymore. So we've been with all these players since January. Yeah. And so we've been together for 7 months now and built relationships with everybody.
I'm telling you what, Davis, I'll see you again, and hopefully the good ways above anything else. Have a good year.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Looking for insurance coverage you can count on? Call the Insurance Barn, a professional agency since 1959. The Insurance Barn writes all-in-one policies and offers coverage for homeowners, fire, flood, commercial property, auto, boats, motorcycles, plus wind and hail protection.
Okay. We have here from Southern Miss the starting linebacker, Mathis Haygood. Mathis, talk to me about the defense. And, I know this is a whole new team, and I know you guys are really trying to put some things together. What's the camaraderie in practice? How are you making it work, at least from one level to the next every day? Is there competition in workouts and things as such?
Of course, with us being a team sport, there's always going to be competition. But I think guys are pushing each other, and it's a competition where me and you are getting better together because it's us versus the problem. It's not us versus each other. We're teammates. So I say guys just coming together and realizing that what we have to do this year.
There's a tough schedule for you guys this year. I know you're going game by game. You're covering things in practice and things as such. What development, is there a lesson that you guys have learned from Coach Anderson that really, or maybe your own position coaches, that has really stuck with you guys throughout the year or throughout the upcoming fall camp?
Well, from Coach Anderson, I can really say him harping on the standards of our program. So things like selflessness, accountability, and things of that nature. And those help us hold each other accountable, and then like Coach Bolden, our DC, he says effort, edge, and communication. So those are standards of the defense that we just abide by and help us realize what we have to do to get better each day.
Coach Bowden was a special teams coordinator last year too. Does he have any, do you guys work on that too, on the defensive level, not only, a pursuit type drill, at least, are there certain things that, he's keeping on, making it a whole defensive unit to, I guess, almost like a block punting type scenario? Are there things like that?
No, sir. I say he's focused strictly on defense, but I can't say from his role last year, it has helped me tremendously because I played on teams last year. And so we have had this relationship since last year, and we have been able to do nothing but build upon it.
And as far as I'm sure y'all video each practice, is there a specific individual format that he looks at, or is there something as far as a team format when you're talking about, okay, we need to work on this as a team?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Coach Bowden is going to break down every clip of every second of every down to the why did you take this step? What made you
Why'd
do
you
this?
pick your
Yes, sir.
nose and
Yes,
all
sir.
that stuff?
Where are your
Yeah.
eyes? Why aren't your eyes on your indicator and your keys and stuff? So I say, yes, sir. Coach Bowden's gonna make sure that the guys in my room are in other rooms are on point at all times.
What do you think now? An obvious answer, winning every game is important to y'all. What do you think is a successful year for you guys at the end of the day?
Conference championship. I think but like Coach Henderson says, also guys graduating, guys doing their schoolwork, guys helping the community. It's the little stuff outside of football that I think will also help our team be successful.
Do you feel that in Hattiesburg? Do you feel the community being a part, not only with you, but with the team in general, the helping out, trying to, being involved with you guys?
This summer alone, I've done more community service than my whole time I've been in Hattiesburg. So I could definitely say I've gone into these communities in Hattiesburg, in these different places, and have introduced myself. And, we definitely have put in more work in the community service.
What's your favorite place to eat on Hard Extreme?
Ed's Burgers.
What's that?
Ed's Burgers. Yes, sir.
Midtown or any love, what are
Vicious
some of
Biscuit. Vicious Biscuit.
Oh, there you go.
I love it.
Nice. Appreciate it, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Looking for trusted legal guidance on the Mississippi Gulf Coast? Joseph Kelly, attorney at law, has been serving the coast since 1993, helping families protect what matters most. From estate planning to securing your legacy, Joseph Kelly provides experienced, personalized legal services designed around your unique needs.
My next guest is a legend in my family's book, South Alabama head football coach, Major Applewhite. I told you last year, Coach, my nephew was named after you too as well.
That's right.
My sister, obviously being a big fan of UT, graduated from UT Austin. Following a legendary football career with the University of Texas Longhorns, Coach Applewhite began his coaching career in 2003, went through several ranks, and landed in Mobile in 2021 as an offensive coordinator before being named the head job in 2024. Coach, the transfer portal has been an issue since you began in Mobile. Talk to me about how y'all navigate through this and develop a football team.
Yeah. Well, the first thing, there's recruitable players, out of high school, there's kind of recycled players through the portal. And then there's the retention of your team. So the first thing that we want to do is make sure that we're bringing the right people in. And then once we bring the right people in, we want to try to do our very best to keep the right people there. And then we want to be selective about who we're trying to go out and get out of the portal. There's some constraints, or there's some structure to the portal in terms of finances, how much you can afford. So those positions that you really need on your team, there's different places you have to go to get those positions. And sometimes you can't afford to put that position all the way to the portal because you can't afford that position. So you have to come up with a plan to be able to develop players at certain positions. In other words, if you're going into the portal to go find you an offensive tackle, everybody wants an offensive tackle. So
exactly.
The price point is out of this roof. So you have to find ways. All right, well, at this position, we may be able to afford a player out of the portal. At this position, we may have to make this more of a developmental position from high school. We may have to use junior college, or, division, lower levels. But that's, without getting into the nuts and bolts of it, there's a certain portion of your roster that you want to be able to bring into the high school, certain portion of your roster that you want to be able to look at from a junior college standpoint, certain portion of your roster that you want to be able to look at from a portal. We just don't have the finances to kind of say, we don't care who leaves us. We've got enough money to be able to replace whoever comes. We don't have that luxury.
Coach, what are the strengths of this team the public is not witnessing?
The strengths of this team that the public is witnessing right now.
That you see every day, but of course the media members we can't really see in the locker room, things as such.
I sense everybody loves everybody right now. Everybody's undefeated. Everybody's running around cones. They're pushing weight off of bench press, put weight on their backs. Everybody's loves who they are as a team right now. And I do too. But I feel like this team, being around this team, I see a level of connection with this team that's impressive. And I'm glad to be, I enjoy being around this team. I see them attacking their work in a different manner. I see some leadership at positions across the ball, at different spots. I see some leadership in the secondary, some leadership up front, wide receiver, and at different positions. I see unit leaders doing a good job. That would be the two things. It's just the connection of this team and the way that they're attacking their work. Very pleased with them. And every team has that to some extent, but I noticed that it's a little more prevalent this summer.
Okay, this question, I know it's pretty easy for you right now, but who is quarterback one, and how much leeway are you going to give the quarterbacks that you have this?
Yeah, Bishop is our starter right now. And he's done a great job. He like all of us, coaches included, got things that he needs to improve on. We're all improving right now in this off-season time period, and we'll continue to. But he's taken the most snaps. There's a reason why I wanted to get Jared snaps towards the end of last season to get him ready for this season. And he's earned the right to be able to compete for that starting job, and he will. And there's going to be competition across the board. It's nothing that someone has done wrong. It's just that there's better players at that position now because they're a year older. And I want to see competition at all of our spots.
I mean, I know you don't like to look ahead at the schedule, but is there any type of team that works better for Bishop, works better for Jared?
They do have some different skill sets, so there's things that both of them can do that they can help a football team. That one of them's a little bit better at this. But I'm not looking at our schedule. Do I look at it and say, all right, this is this kid's game.
Game by game, yeah.
But there'll be some things schematically that we'll want to do with each of those guys.
Absolutely. How does the running game look with the loss of Kentrell?
Yeah, good. I thought both of those guys were really good backs last year. Kentrell got the majority of the load because he was the older guy, but I feel very good, confident with both of those guys as our running backs. And some of the younger guys are doing a good job. We need to keep pushing them along because you're going to play multiple backs typically in a season. So the lower, I say lower, not the lower, but the younger part of our depth chart needs to come on to provide some more depth in case we run into injuries at that spot.
Final question, Coach. Talk to me about the retirement of Dr. Joel Erdman and what this means to you, not necessarily just from the team perspective, but what this means to you.
Well, Dr. Erdman and Tina, number one, take out the football part of it, have just been really great people to me and Julie, my wife. Tina's been phenomenal to my wife, coming to Mobile. Like Tina wasn't from Mobile, trying to acclimate. That means more to me than anything. To just try to make your wife feel comfortable in a new city. Dr. Erdman did not change when I was his offensive coordinator as to when I was his head coach. And I still don't have the perspective because I wasn't here 15, 18 years ago when they wanted to form this program. It's still hard to fathom that everything that we see on a day-to-day basis was trees. It was woods. There was no stadium. There was no practice facilities. There was no indoor practice facilities. There was no field house. And
playing at Legions out in the ghetto.
yeah, it's one thing to be able to come in as an athletic director and add an upper deck to the stadium or, redo the basketball coliseum. It's another thing to come in and start an entire major sport program and start from scratch and get a stadium built and put all the finances and the personnel around it. I can't even claim to know what all that takes. It's just such a different job from what I do, but it's tremendous. And then try to navigate it in the era where they're flipping to where you can pay players. So you're spending a lot of your money on facilities and the startup, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, now that money needs to go to players. So, an unbelievable time period to start a program, but what he did was phenomenal for us, and I'm truly grateful that he gave me the opportunity.
How comfortable are you with the new administration that's been put in place?
Well, it's great right now. Dr. McCarthy, Daniel McCarthy was on staff with Dr. Erdman. There's a tremendous amount of institutional knowledge, having gone to school at South Alabama, grown up in this program, being around this program for so long, knows where all the cracks are. So I really enjoy working with Dr. McCarthy on all of our issues. Very hands-on, wants to win, looks at the same school board that the coaches look at. And let's get this fixed for you. Let's let's see what y'all can do to help us here from an athletic department standpoint. Let's see what we can do to help you. And then, President Bonner and Dr. Kent are phenomenal. I mean, they're rock stars. And I know people use that term flippantly, but the amount of effort that they put into our university and what they do for our campus and what they do for athletics, very seldom is your, number one and number two going to spend time around recruits, and they come and see our recruits and get to know the parents. And we have a great administration, great support.
Coach, we thank you very much. Best of luck to you this year.
Yes, sir. Have a good one.
United States Marine Inc. knows what it means to show up strong. Your grit and teamwork inspire us every day. At USMI, we cherish our family, and our family includes community and you. USMI builds the baddest boats with pride and coastal toughness.
Mark your calendars for Saturday, September 12th, and head to Nine Toes Brewing Company in Pass Christian for the Hook 'em for Heroes block party. It's a free event from 1 to 10 p.m. featuring live performances by JJ Gray and Mofro, Mark Broussard, Cedric Burnside, Honey Island Swamp Band, and more. Best of all, the event supports local veterans and first responders, so come enjoy great music while giving back to those who have served our communities.
Now we welcome two football players representing South Alabama, Kenton, Jerido.
Yes, sir.
Is that correct? Just making sure I got it right. And Jayvon Henderson.
Yes, sir.
Good deal. I'm careful with how I do that too as well. My old teaching stuff. How are you gentlemen today?
I'm doing good. How are you? Great.
Kenton, talk to me about your running game and if the Jaguars are ready to continue the loss after Kentrell Bullock. You guys lost.
Yeah, Kentrell Bullock is a rare talent. Unfortunately, he ran out of ability.
I'm a lineman. I know what it's like. You can't really talk so much about us as much about the running backs. Yeah.
Up front, you're gonna have a good five up there, and then you still have Keenan Phillips and PJ Martin. Mm-hmm. And I feel like they can still do the same thing that Kentrell did. They two different type of runners. Kentrell was north and south, but now we got more east to west type backs. But the running game's still gonna be significant because that's what we lean towards, and that's how it's been every year since I've been here. We had a good run game, so that's where we always gonna start with, run game first.
Talk to me about practicing for two different quarterback systems, as I know you guys are working not only with Bishop, but other guys across the board, and if that's easier for y'all with different situations that each quarterback's going through.
Each quarterback got their own different tendency and stuff, but
is that easy for y'all, or it's like let's get back to downset hut, or something like that?
Yeah. At the end of the day, you move when the ball moves.
Yes.
As long as all five of us tied into the one snap count, it's not really that big of a deal. But of course, it's gonna be different play calls with each quarterback because it fit them more. But other than that, it's not really that big of a difference.
Sure. Jayvon, you're the only starting returner in the secondary.
So,
have you embraced the leadership role vocally, or are you just telling your teammates to follow your lead?
I feel like, I have been way more vocal than I was last year, having that leadership role put on my back. And I said, just bringing guys along with me, the ones that came in, even the young guys. So, I have, adapted to that real well.
How do you feel with many of your former teammates leaving you guys after a while? And this is for both of y'all from a transfer portal perspective. These guys are, they're having a good season, and we're taking off.
I feel like with that, when you have guys leave, it's going to happen because of the portal. But when you have guys come in, it's really important to bring them in with you and show them the real culture of how South Alabama football is being played. So I saw that when you get those guys, it's not really we lost in this area, It's okay, we gained in this area. We're still certified in this area. So just bringing guys along with us, having that culture aspect about us.
That's just the way college football is now. People gonna leave after every year. And so the thing is, we try to replace and refurbish what left. And the main thing is still the main thing. We still gonna have program coach, the same rules, the same philosophy. So we just gotta speed up and catch up with new people.
I thank you guys very much. Look forward to seeing y'all this year.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate y'all.
Thank you for our time.
If you are thinking about selling on your own, maybe ask Steph. If you would like to talk to Stephanie to help determine your next steps, Call today at 228-563-0471 or call her at the office and ask for Steph at 228-452-4242. We have the man, SunBelt, Locked On SunBelt podcast host, David Schutlz. David, now I know you haven't had a chance to sit down and reflect on all this. Based on right now,
Sure.
What's the number one thing you've learned at this conference?
Oh,
I know you.
What's the number one thing I've learned at this conference? Well, it was interesting. You don't hear coaches say they made a mistake. Tony Gibson said he made a mistake, not starting Carlos Del Rio Wilson to begin the season. So some guys are not practice players. Some guys are, play well in ball games, and that's what happened apparently with Carlos Del Rio Wilson. So I learned about that. I learned, Dow Loggins was nervous last year, which you would expect, first-time head coach. And so guys like Tony Gibson and Dow Loggins are, much more comfortable this year. You got Jared Parker entering his third year. He's settled in, right? Can Brian Vincent win? Got a chance to talk to Del McGee, all right? We saw him smile. He's usually got a, gruff exterior, like a little bit of a scowl, but we got him talking about his son and things like that. So I'm not sure how much I learned. I learned that Josh Dallas likes to talk more than me, wide receiver from Georgia Southern. So that makes hosting the podcast much easier when they do all the talking.
That being said, did you ever think that you would have a punter that would be at the top, that they would be invited here?
No, I didn't, and I do love it. All right, Evan Crenshaw is the preseason special teams player of the year. Usually, it's a returner for obvious reasons, but that's a special weapon. All right, and as much as we love, to be aggressive, that allows, Jared Parker to play the field position ball game when he wants to. Right, I don't have to go for it on 4th and 4. On their 48-yard line, I can punt that. I can put them into the corner. So yeah.
Summerall was coaching.
Yeah.
How they used to do the 4th and 2, just punt it away.
In the fourth year, yes, it was very much so. Just we're gonna play defense because they had a really good defense and had a really good running game. And sometimes Troy would just try to flip the field, and maybe that's what they do this year, right? That if they get the ball inside their own 20, maybe they just get a first down or two, and then they can punt it away and flip the field with Evan Crenshaw. So that is an absolute weapon that the Troy Trojans have.
Craig Stevenson.
Yeah.
Asked Gerard Park too.
Right.
Coach, what is it about Troy? Like the people are just not leaving there. They're like,
yeah. I
mean, literally, the catcher on the baseball team,
right,
who's been first round, get picked back. Nobody really wants to leave there. They just want to stay there. I've been there a couple times.
Well, it's a little small, right? It's not a bustling metropolis by any means. But remember, some of these guys either come from small towns, so they like it, or they come from they're a small fish in a big pond, and now you go to Troy, and now you're a big fish in a small pond, or whatever reason. But it is special. They have some outstanding facilities, right? For group of 5. The baseball stadium is nice, football stadium is nice, the basketball arena is great, and it's all right there, right? It's not on other side of campuses or anything like that. It's all in one spot. So it's kind of special. And then, like Jared Parker said to me, I walk in and people are calling me coach. People come up to me at Waffle House and call me coach. And he's like, there's nothing more special than that. And so that's pretty cool.
Talking about your conversation with Napier, Coach Napier yesterday.
Right.
I know you were talking to him for quite a bit of time yesterday. Where is he at? Because, there's you leave the SEC job, you're pretty much going to get some guaranteed money.
Sure. Right. So he didn't have to coach this year.
Exactly.
Right. He could have waited and picked it up. But, a place like JMU doesn't come open very often. He's obviously very comfortable in the SunBelt. So he's very successful with the Cajuns. And you get to go to the high end where they have all the money. Right. So there's an absolute difference between the athletic budget at JMU and the athletic budget at Monroe. All right. And even now the Cajuns. And so he gets to step into a place where they have the financial wherewithal to win and expect to win. Now to get back to a college football playoff, that's going to be tough. All right, let's be honest. But it's a whole new team, so I don't know anything about them. And I always play the grain of salt with the coach's preseason picks in terms of the teams, not necessarily the players, but the teams, because not only the coaches don't know what they have, right? He's got a whole new team. He's never seen these guys play. He doesn't know what he has. So what do we think Billy Napier thinks? He might know what the Cajuns have because he may be familiar with some of those players, but he doesn't know what Troy has. He doesn't know what South Alabama has. So him making those picks you take it for what it is. Same thing with the other coaches trying to pick JMU to be the top dog in the East. I think that's more on reputation than anything else.
You know this thing better than most. How is South Alabama picked to finish sixth behind Southern Miss, and yet they have 4, or was it 6, all-conference preseason conference players?
Yeah, that's a good question. They went 4-8 last year. If they can settle in on Bishop Davenport being the quarterback, or Jared Hollis, we'll see which one. Probably Bishop's going to get the first shot at it, right? It's his job to lose. And they got to win some close ball games, right? I thought he's done a really good job, right? The quarterback got hurt to begin, his tenure there. And then, he wins a bowl game without a starting quarterback, without a starting running back, and without a starting wide receiver. And then his quarterback, after spring ball, leaves and goes to North Carolina, which didn't work out. So now we're starting fall camp all over again. That's a tough spot for anybody and everybody. And so maybe with the continuity of having what came out of spring, heading into the fall, they can be a little bit better. But they should be, I'm not sure they're going to be 6th, but, maybe they could surprise some teams and compete, for that middle ground and go to another bowl game.
What coaches do you think they have a number? They have to be able to win these number of games. I know there's a few of them. I'm not sure. I'm saying a number.
So who do you have? Let's see what you said.
I would think would be obviously Coach Major Applewhite.
Sure.
Coach Del McGee.
Yeah.
Because though both of them have been there for at least a couple of years.
Sure.
It doesn't really seem like there's anything happening right at this point.
Well, Major Applewhite, went to that bowl game a couple years ago. All right. And he had a bad second year.
And Dr. Joel Urban.
Sure. Right. We'll see if that matters. If the bottom falls out of it, maybe. But I think if they're competitive and they win, 4, 5, 6 games, I think Major will come back. All right.
Michael DeShormo from Lafayette. Do you think based on their field and all the donors and put all the money?
Right.
I know you're kind of like, but I don't know.
Well, I don't know if they have any money to pay the outgoing coaching staff and bring in a new one. So that may be financial wherewithal, but they need to keep them. I'm hearing Dawkins, right, needs to win a little bit.
Okay.
There's been a disconnect from the community, right? So he hasn't quite embraced Boone as maybe he should. And so I'm told that he has to win a little bit, like it's like 7 wins.
Boone's had 3 or 4 coaches in the last few years, or
well, I mean, who was only there? Eli Drinkowitz was only there for a year. So Scott Satterfield was building it up. Then Eli was only there for a year. Then Sean Clark, unfortunately, he passed away, but that was after he was let go. Love me some Sean Clark.
good dude.
But Dowell claimed he wanted that job. He's kind of treating it like a pro job, where it's just about football. And that's not what Boone, North Carolina is, right? It's about App State. And he needs to embrace the community and get the community behind him. So in case something doesn't go right, he can stand not measuring up to what they want. And again, the problem with the East is, Hunter, everybody thinks they should win a championship, right? From App State to Georgia Southern, ODU is even really good, JMU, and obviously
at least be involved.
Yeah, and not everybody can't win it, right? So I think there's a little bit more pressure than you would think heading into year 2 for Dawkins, but I would look for him needs to win 6 or 7 ball games. And will say this. Unless you're not trying, I don't think coaches, I understand when coaches get fired, but I do not advocate for coaches getting fired. I understand things are bad some places, but that's not my thing, mostly because I don't want people getting me fired.
Final question. I asked Commissioner Gilman.
Yeah.
And huge successful thing this year in baseball. No, it's not a baseball team.
Well, it is a baseball conference.
But
We got 5 teams in the NCAA tournament. That's a baseball conference. Sure.
my point in this is, how do you get that formula for football, for basketball?
Well, I mean, they went to the college football playoff last year, so it's a little bit more difficult. So baseball is baseball is a little flukier than the other teams, than the other sports, right? Just because, most of the time the most physical team wins in those other sports, not necessarily in baseball, right? You can do everything right in baseball and have a bad result. You can do everything wrong and have a good result. That very rarely happens in the other sports. You can get some breaks, right? Kawhi Leonard with the bounce in, right? Eli Manning and David Tyree with the helmet catch. You can't do those on a regular basis, right? But, you could be Auburn and line into not one, but two inning-ending double plays, and one ended the ball game, and Coastal ends up going to to Omaha, and all you did was hit the ball hard twice, right? Whereas you can hit one off the end of the bat and it falls in and it ends up being a base hit. So basketball is the key sport, and you got to schedule, and that takes two to tango. So that's very difficult. I know he says, we got to give the team some tools. I'm not sure what tools there are that he can provide, but not only do you have to schedule some games, you have to win, right? You got to win those Power 4 games when you have a chance. It's tough to get those home games. So you got to win. You got to win one. You got to win some, right? And so you got to win those ball games. So I think I saw it. Did I see that LSU is hosting the Cajuns? Is that a thing? Holy cow. So that's a big opportunity. Good for Will Wade for doing that. Maybe it can be a home and home. The women's do that, right? The LSU comes to the Cajuns to play, right? They usually have a kids' day, and it's a good crowd. So you got to win those ball games. You got to schedule, and then you need the bottom teams to be a little bit better, right? You can't have it's like baseball. You can't have an RBI team in the 200s. And you're gonna and win. Even if you win, you lose. Yeah.
David,
thanks, Hunter.
see you, my friend.
Appreciate it.
Curious if I'll have you on again soon.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to part 1 of the HD experience from the SunBelt Conference Media Days at the Convention Center Marriott in New Orleans. Join us next week for part 2 of the show. The HD experience is available on all podcast platforms including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon, as well as on YouTube. Subscribe today to never miss an episode of the HD Experience. The HD Experience is a Gazebo Gazette production.